Without a doubt, arcane enhancement in the game are massive upgrades not just for your Warframes, but they're also available for your weapons and even for your operators. These enhancements give so much power to your equipment that you can make an easy game super easy. Long story short, it satisfies your craving for power fantasy. As I have said, there are lots of arcanes in the game, but few are only used, since just like anything else in Warframe, there's those so-called meta that everyone needs in their arsenal to make them effective and efficient in farming. Obviously, the most meta arcane right now is Arcane Energize, which is only available by hunting Eidolons in the plains, or given as a reward in the Nightwave system, or somehow Digital Extremes will listen to the community and bring back the Scarlet Spear, which lets you farm all the arcanes you need, including the most sought-out Arcane Energize. It's kind of sad also that some of the arcanes in the game lost its usefulness because of the ever-evolving power game of Warframe. The moment Digital Extremes introduce a new set of power to players, some arcanes get obsolete. And let me talk a few of these before we get there, the most underrated arcane that you should try. But first let me ask you this, is the average price tag for Arcane Energize right now reasonable? The average price of Arcane Energize is at 2100 to 2100 to 2300 platinum right now. With this amount of platinum, you can have an arcane that boosts the energy you gain for you and nearby allies within 15 mem whenever you pick up an energy orb with a 15-second cooldown between uses. In terms of drop rate, this is only awarded for capturing the Eidolon Hydralist, and there's a possibility that you'll run through 20 Hydralist or even more if your luck is worst, just to get one Arcane Energize. If you ask me, then the price is understandable for the seller's standpoint, as it's the rarest arcane to farm. Also, it provides high energy restore not just for you, but for your allies once you pick up an energy orb, which is very helpful in terms of team plays such as Duviri missions. But also take note that there are things in the game now that makes energy problems manageable. Just take for subsuming Nourish in your build and using the Zenuric focus to regain energy, and also energy pickups will be higher once you get it with Nourish active. There's also Emergence Dissipate Arcane for your operator now that gives you energy, and it is paired well with Magus Anomaly, the one you use in your operator to group enemies in one spot. Just group enemies, then cast Emergence Dissipate to gain energy per enemy hit by your Void Cancel. The only downside, though, is you need to alter your build just to get rid of any energy problems using this method. With Arcane Energize, all you need is to consume an arcane slot to get rid of any energy problems. It's pretty obvious why the arcane did not get obsolete, and it's the most wanted arcane by players in Warframe. But just like I have asked earlier, is the 2000 plus price tag for this arcane just right? Or is it too much? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. While Arcane Energize stays to be at the top list when it comes to arcane enhancement, others like Arcane Grace and Arcane Guardian seems like they left the chat after various powers were added into the game. Call me noob, but there was a time in Warframe where I slap Arcane Guardian in almost everything just to get bonus armor from it, even though the Warframe has little base armor at all. That extra damage reduction on health does help me in the past, especially with those squishy Warframes. Back in the days, we don't have shield gating that gives you 1 second invulnerability, so you would rely on movement and other damage reduction sources, even if it's not optimal for a Warframe. Also, Arcane Grace was like top 3 of the most sought-out arcane in the game. It was very powerful, with a life build for Inaros. It's also great for Chroma or any tank Warframes that are relying with Hunter Adrenaline or Rage for energy regeneration. With Arcane Grace, you can take advantage of such mods to regenerate your energy because you have constant healing. Right now, it's all about Gloom builds when you need to pair something with Rage mode for energy restore. It's also laughable to see those status immunity arcanes, such as Arcane Warmth, Arcane Healing, Arcane Ice, and all those other immunity arcanes except for Arcane Nullifier fall into the abyss as the shield gating mechanic or the Rolling Guard mod was introduced. The Arcane Nullifier is useful in Eidolon hunts when you don't have any Harrow or Oberon in your team, or you can also ride your K-Drive to avoid the magnetic surge or the Eidolon's scream that drains your energy. While these arcanes will give you full immunity to specific status, but honestly, it's not needed right now as there's no boss or missions that pose any status treat to players in Warframe. But there are unexpected arcanes that turned out to be fun to use right now, and even helpful in some builds and combos. Take, for example, Arcane Eruption. This is an arcane eruption. This is an arcane enhancement that provides a chance to knock down nearby enemies on energy pickups. At max rank, it will knock down enemies within 30 meters with a 100% chance, and I always use this with a farming Necros in the past. The crowd control is amazing for the survivability of Necros, especially when there's no gloom in the Passat and all you have to rely to is your Shield of Shadows augment. Right now it's still amazing to use not just with Necros, but other Warframes that can generate energy orbs fast. Arcane Eruption is also overpowered on any frames that can generate energy orbs, like Gara, Hildrin, Protea, or any frame with loot bonus and Hemlith abilities like Spectrage, Augment, or Dispensary. Not to mention that the option got expanded with the addition of Voruna's Likath's hunt to drop energy orbs after successfully hitting a headshot to the enemy, and Citrine's Fractured Blast that increases the chance of dropping energy orbs when they are afflicted by the skill. Also, Arcane Avenger seems to be meta right now, especially if you want to get red crit, but don't want to spend some platinum with Riven mods, or you don't have enough critical chance to gain those red critical numbers. The new arcane called Molt Augmented is also meta right now, as the power strength it provides allows you to min-max some Warframe builds into crazy levels. Atlas or Gaze can be very effective as a farming skill with the help of this augment, and Hildrin can reach 100% defense removal with this arcane. The only downside is, it's only efficient in long missions such as survival runs, as you would need to build up stack for the arcane to get the maximum power strength buff. But if there's one arcane I highly recommend trying out right now, that is the Arcane Arachne, an arcane enhancement that increases the player's weapon damage for 30 seconds whenever they wall latch, but cannot retrigger until after it expires. The damage buff of this arcane is additive to damage modes like Serration, and it works on some weapon projectiles, such as thrown glaive contact damage and heavy explosion damage, where it stacks additively to power throw instead. It also works with Exodia Contagion, where it stacks multiplicatively to damage mods instead. It works too with Exodia Epidemic Tenet Agendus, Heavy Attack Projectile, and Tenet Grigori Slide Heavy Projectile. The best part is, it also applies to some Warframe abilities, such as Ash Shuriken, Baruch's Desolate Hands, Chroma's Spectral Scream, Ember's Fireball, Excalibur's Radial Javelin, Frost's Freeze ability, Garuda's Dread Mirror's Explosion damage, and Seeking Talons' Contact damage, Cowl's Red Lines. Bolts, Grendel's Regurgitates Radial damage, Hildrin's Balefire, Ivada's Artemis Bow, Mesa's Peacemaker, Neza's Warding Halos damage, Nova's Null Star and Antimatter Drop, Oberon's Smite Orbs damage, Revenant's Enthrall's projectiles, Titania's Razorwings Dex Pixar, but not on her Miladildiwa, which I'm kind of curious why. It also works with Vauban's Min-Layer Flechette Orbs damage, Wisp, Breach, Surge, Sparks, and the best of all, Steinek's Final Stand, which increases the overall damage output of Slash and Bleed for the press 4 to win Warframe. It pairs well with Molt Augmented Nourish Steinax, and so far, this is the best way to boost the Warframe's ultimate damage. Arcanes such as Arachne and Eruption are just a few of the arcane enhancements that you might think you don't need at the moment, but actually worth investing in specific setup. Now, I would like to know which arcanes are you enjoying right now? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.